All right, today we are going to unpack a strategy for building wealth it's less about frantic action and more about good old-fashioned patience. We're talking about passive investing, or as we like to call it, the slow cooker wealth strategy. So just think about this for a second. Imagine that amazing rich smell of a potjie that's been simmering for hours over a low fire. You know the one, that slow, patient process. That's really at the heart of what we're talking about. It is a completely different universe from the fast, frantic world of stock market trading, which, as you're about to see, often ends in disappointment. So why do so many of us get sucked into the financial version of fast food? Let's break down exactly why our natural human instincts can lead us completely astray when it comes to investing our money.
It's just human nature, right? We want to do something. We feel like if we're not busy, we're not being productive. And that's why things like day trading and checking your stocks every 5 minutes feel so exciting. It gives you this illusion of control. But here's the hard truth. All that busyness, all that fiddling around is very often the thing that completely tanks your results.
And this comparison just nails it. Think about it. Active investing is like an air fryer. It's fast, it's trendy, and it promises these incredible quick results. It's like you're trying to force an outcome, like a bodybuilder cramming for a competition. But then you have the Mizanzi way. You're planting seeds, you're letting the slow cooker do its thing. Yeah, it might feel a little boring, but here's the most important part. It actually works. And this just illustrates the whole problem perfectly. Trying to outsmart the entire market every single day? Man, that is a tough game. It's like trying to cook springbok in an air fryer. That meat is as tough as the springbok scrum itself. You need slow, patient heat. If you try to rush it, you're just going to break your teeth, or in this case, your bank account.
Okay, so if the air fryer method is a recipe for disaster, what's the actual recipe for success? Let's get into the simple, effective strategy that honestly, pretty much anyone can follow. Come on, let's be real for a second. You've got kids to drop off, you've got a job to do, dinner isn't going to cook itself, and maybe, just maybe, you want to get to the gym. Who on earth has the time to sit there poring over financial statements, pretending they're the next Warren Buffett? Well, the good news is you absolutely do not have to.
So here it is, the recipe. And it is so simple, it's beautiful. Step 1, stop trying to pick the winning horse. Just buy the whole racetrack. You do this with something called a broad-based index fund, or an ETF. It's just a single investment that holds tiny little pieces of hundreds of companies, letting you own the entire market in one go. Step 2, watch your fees. High fees are like a tiny leak in your potjie. Over time, all the good stuff just escapes. So keep them as low as you possibly can. And step 3, be consistent. You've got to add ingredients regularly. That means investing a set amount every single month, whether the market is soaring or crashing.
And this leads to a fantastic, if a little morbid point. There was a study that found that the best performing investment accounts actually belonged to people who were, dead. And why? Because they weren't fiddling with them. They weren't panic selling during a dip or chasing the latest hot trend. They were the ultimate passive investors. Now, please, I'm not suggesting you do anything drastic. Just maybe learn from their inaction.
This brings us to what is probably the most important and definitely the hardest ingredient in our whole recipe, just letting it cook. Let's talk about the incredible power of leaving things alone.
Look, anyone who has ever made a real potjie knows the golden rule. Don't lift the lid. Every single time you peak, you let the heat out and you slow down the cooking. Your investments are exactly the same. Constantly checking your portfolio just invites anxiety and this massive temptation to do something stupid. Set it up and then go live your life. Go fishing. Go for a hike. The pot will take care of itself.
In our world of instant streaming and binge watching, we've kind of forgotten how to wait. But it wasn't that long ago that you had to wait a full week for the next episode of your favorite show. You had no choice but to be patient. And that is the exact same mindset that compound interest needs to work. It doesn't happen overnight. It needs years of being left alone to do its magic.
So here's the crucial point. Time is the engine of growth. You simply cannot rush it. It's like an hourglass. The sand has to fall at its own pace. Your job is just to let that hourglass run for as long as you possibly can.
And here's a beautiful local way to think about it. Active investing. That's like planting roses. Sure, they're gorgeous, but they are so high maintenance. They need constant attention, special food, perfect conditions. But passive investing? That's like planting proteas and aloes. These are hardy plants. They actually thrive when you just leave them alone. In fact, fussing over them can do more harm than good. Your portfolio can be exactly the same.
So, after all this slow cooking, all this patient waiting, what's the end result? Let's talk about the delicious meal you're actually preparing for your future self.
When it comes down to it, you arrive at a fork in the road. One path is the active one. It's full of frantic energy, a ton of guesswork, and really high fees. The other path is passive. It's calm, it's steady, and it's based on a simple, proven recipe. When you put it like that, the choice is pretty clear, isn't it?
And this is the great paradox of this whole thing. It feels so counterintuitive, but by stepping back, by doing less, you often achieve so much more. You're not being lazy, you're being smart. You are deliberately holding back to let the single most powerful force in finance, which is time and compounding, do all the heavy lifting for you.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. You don't have to be a financial genius. You don't need special connections or some uncle who works at a hedge fund. All you need is a simple plan, the discipline to stick with it, and the patience to just let it work. It's one of the most powerful democratic ideas in all of finance. So, to wrap it all up, this slow cooker method is like preparing the slowest breakfast you'll ever make. But after a few decades of simmering away, I promise you it'll be the most satisfying and worthwhile meal you have ever had. And the best part? You don't need to be some fancy chef. You just need to put the right ingredients in the pot and have the patience to walk away and let it cook.